It's Ash from Super Videos back for another video for Season 10 of The Walking Dead. This is my episode predictions for the upcoming episode of The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 10, which is called Stalker. So let's jump right into it. First things first, the title of this episode, Stalker, is a reference to what we're going to basically see from the Whispers in this episode. The Whispers are going to act like stalkers, and they're gonna actually come to Alexandria, they're gonna sneak into Alexandria, and they're going to attack the survivors in a way that they don't expect it. And they're going to kill people in their homes. The writers revealed that this episode has a lot of slasher horror movie vibes, and we do know that Beta specifically acts a lot like Jason Voorhees in this episode, and that's how they want him to be portrayed, as this kind of beast, as this stalker. So that's where the title comes from. But aside from that, I think Stalker is also a reference to Father Gabriel and Daryl in this episode. Both of them are going to do things that are going to fit the characteristics of a stalker. Father Gabriel is going to most likely torture Whispers and not be the nice guy Gabriel anymore, and he's going to be a darker character. Also, at the same time, Stalker could be referring to Daryl as well, because we do see in one of the sneak peeks that he's stalking the Whispers and sneaking in and killing them in silence. So Daryl also has some Stalker-like tendencies in this episode. So the title Stalker could be referring to all of those three characters, maybe even Alpha as well. The synopsis for this episode reads, "The group must defend Alexandria from a threatening outside force." We talked about that before. The threatening outside force is the threat of the Whispers and Beta. Based on the trailers and teasers and the opening minutes, we do know that Beta makes his way underground from an RV that's in the middle of a field. He is accompanied by two other Whispers. He goes down to the underground, and we know that he sneaks his way into Alexandria by digging his way out of a grave. The same grave that Dante dug and put Cheryl's body in, the woman that he killed at Alexandria. So there must have been a communication between Dante and Beta about where to put the grave for it to be close enough to the tunnel for Beta to be able to get in. And we do know that Beta, alongside other Whispers, attack people in their homes and kill them. We do know one of the Whispers specifically goes after Coco, Rosita's baby. Now, with that title and synopsis discussion out of the way, I'm going to go through some of the plot points that I think we're going to see in this episode based on everything that has been released about this episode so far. First thing first, I think we're going to see a scenario where Daryl goes back to one of the cave entrances and tries to save Connie and Magna. Now, we don't know whether he's going to be successful or not, and we don't even know if we're going to see Connie and Magna in this episode. But based on the ending of last episode, we do know that he wanted to find another entrance to the cave in order to find Connie and Magna. And based on a sneak peek for this episode, we do know that he does find an entrance and he is trying to sneak his way in. There are Whispers around, he tries to kill them, and also that's when he comes across Alpha. And that takes us to our next point. I think the reason Alpha is back at the cave is she went back to the cave to ensure that the survivors are dead and gather intel to make sure that the job is done. And I think when she goes back, she finds out that maybe some of the survivors might have escaped. And then when she's trying to leave alongside other Whispers, that's when Daryl follows them and ambushes them and surprises them, and he may even kill a couple Whispers. But I think he's going to force Alpha to go after him, and once he does that, he's going to find the right opportunity to attack Alpha, and that's when I think we're going to see a fight between Daryl and Alpha. Parts of this fight have been in multiple parts of the trailers that they've released, so we do know that's happening. I think at the end of that fight, though, both of them are going to survive. They're probably going to be injured. Daryl is going to be beat up pretty bad. He's going to be bleeding pretty heavily. And we also know that Alpha is going to get a couple bruises and a couple cuts on her face. So we do know that they're both going to be injured, but I think both are going to survive. Now, what I also think is going to happen is that Alpha is going to try to lure in walkers to attack Daryl so that it's easier for her. And I think that that's what's going to help Alpha escape. And that's going to be what's going to keep Daryl busy enough for Alpha to find a way out. And I think at the end of that fight, even though both are going to survive, Daryl is going to be the winner because he would have been able to force Alpha back. And then I think when Alpha returns to the Whisperers camp, have Negan punish her for her failures. Not only her failure in the fight against Daryl, but also her failure in trying to kill the survivors in the cave. And this was obviously in one of the teasers that they released, so we know that's happening. And I think based on Negan and Alpha's connection now, and based on the scene that we saw in the last episode, that makes this scene realistic in a way. And it makes it so that it's in character for Alpha to do such a thing. The next thing that we're probably going to see, maybe earlier than the rest of the stuff that we discussed, is Gamma is going to go to Alexandria and she's going to tell the survivors at Alexandria about the cave trap and let them know what happened and ask them to go after their friends and try to rescue them. I do think though that they're not going to believe Gamma initially and they're not going to trust her, and Gamma is going to be imprisoned and she's going to be questioned. She's going to give them information, tell them where the cave is, but I don't think that they're going to immediately trust her until they see it for themselves. And the next thing that we're going to see, which is probably again going to happen earlier on in this episode, is Beta alongside other Whisperers are going to sneak into Alexandria, like we talked about, and they're going to attack its residents. And I think one of the reasons why they even go to Alexandria is to look for Gamma. Based on what we saw at the end of last episode, Alpha told Beta to go find Gamma and bring her back to her. So I think that Beta is going to figure out Gamma is probably at Alexandria, and that's going to force him to go to the underground tunnel, sneak his way into Alexandria and attack, in order to not only kill the survivors and put out a statement in a way and bring the fight to them, but also at the same time, he's going to be looking for Gamma. That's going to be one of his objectives. And the last thing that I have in here is what we are probably going to see by the end of this episode is Beta and the Whisperers are going to be overwhelmed and the survivors are going to counter the Whisperers' attack. And we are going to see a scenario where Gabriel is going to gather some people and they're going to get some reinforcement to come and save Alexandria. And that's going to force Beta and the Whisperers to run away. I think Beta is going to manage to run away, but I do think that Gabriel is going to imprison some of the Whisperers and maybe even torture them. That might even happen a little bit earlier on, but at the end of the day, I think that this episode will end with Beta and maybe some other Whisperers, if there's any left, running away back to the Whisperers camp. And I think that's probably when we're going to see Beta telling Alpha what happened, and that's going to be really the start of the war. And that's when we're going to actually see Alpha, Negan, and Beta coming up with the plan to counter this defense. And that's probably going to lead to their plan to attack Hilltop, which we're probably going to see in the episode after or the episode after that. That's pretty much it for my prediction for this episode. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to press the like button, and if you are not a subscriber, make sure to subscribe to join our community. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video. If you like what you see, press like, subscribe for more content, and press the bell button to receive notifications for daily uploads.